Well, hello, you all. This is Cooking with Bree. I will be making three items tonight. We will be doing baked chicken, macaroni and cheese, and pecan pie. So, right now, I am taking my pack of chicken thighs, putting them in some warm water, and I clean my chicken with vinegar. So, that is what I'm doing now. So I will clean it and I will trim what I don't want on the chicken. I will trim that off. So I rub all my chicken thighs. It was actually 10 of them in this pack. So as I'm rubbing each one of them, I'm just looking at what I need to trim off. So I grabbed my paper towel because my hands was dirty from the chicken. So now I'm going in the dishwasher getting the scissors, the kitchen shears to be correct. So now I'm just cutting the skin and the fat and whatever else I don't want on there off and trimming it off. I don't too much eat chicken thighs, but tonight I decided to make some chicken thighs, and if I cook them, I'll eat them because I know that I've cleaned them correctly and I cooked them thoroughly. This process takes some time, but the chicken will look very good and it will be good because you won't have that extra fat on it. You won't have that extra skin hanging off. You just have just enough. Well, fun fact, I do not eat the skin of chicken. It's a timing process, but it's well worth it. And while I'm cutting this chicken up, I did already start my oven. I did preheat my oven and I preheated it for 350. It is now on now and it's already warm. You don't want to put any food in an oven on a cold oven unless a recipe calls for a cold oven. Other than that, you do not want to put any food in the oven in a cold oven. When you cook food and you're washing the chicken or your meat and you're using vinegar, it just helps bring off the greasiness and grit and stuff that is on the chicken, and it just helps it. And usually you wash it and you trim it and you clean it thoroughly and you rinse your meat off a couple times prior to you seasoning it. It doesn't give it a flavor of vinegar, but it cooks it and cleans it very well. You know, some people use lemon and lime, but my preference is vinegar. I'm just continue to rinse it with my hands and make sure that I got everything off of it. Since it's 10 pieces and the thighs are kind of a good size, so I use the aluminum pans. I always cook with these because I'm the one washing dishes. So I'll put 5 in each pan. If you wash your dishes while you're cooking, meaning in the process of you cooking, you won't have many at the end of the time, but aluminum pans helps out a lot. And I will apologize, I did not know that I had the setting for the recording to be in a small frame, and I did not open it. That was a mistake that I made, but you still was able to see a good part of it. And my son, I asked him to bring me the bleach, and he gonna put the darn bleach thing on the stove. And I'm just trying to clean up a little bit before I move to the next point. I don't want to contaminate anything. And some people don't use bleach. You don't have to use bleach. You know, the Palmolive dish detergent right there, I could have used that. You know, it's the same. Just clean up afterwards. But I usually like to use bleach washing my dishes anyway, so it's just something common that I do. So now I'm trying to find my seasoning. I should have had it out already, but now this seasoning I love when I bake chicken, whole chicken or just baked chicken itself. I love this seasoning. And see, I noticed that I had it on a small frame. Let's see how long it takes me to notice that. Now, mind you, this is after 8 p.m. I never started cooking after 8 p.m. It was almost 9 p.m. But I had a lot of things to do this day. But I made a promise, so I had to keep my promise for one of my daughter-in-laws. I have 2 daughter-in-laws, and one of my daughter-in-laws, I promised her the pecan pie and macaroni and cheese. So I have to keep my promise. Every time I straighten that cabinet out, them kids, they mess it right back up. And I always use this detergent to clean vegetables. If it doesn't have a peel on the outside, like the onions, it has a peel that you can take away. Oranges, even though it's a peel, I'm going to touch that peel and then I'm going to touch the meat of the orange. So I clean that as well. I clean all of my stuff. It's a good sized pepper, so we're not going to use the whole entire pepper. So what I used for this chicken was the rotisserie seasoning, a green bell pepper, 1/2 of a green bell pepper, and 1/2 of an onion. And I just roughly chop it up. There's nothing perfect about this. Because to be honest, I actually do not eat the green pepper or the onion. It has to be minced and chopped really, really fine and small for me to eat it. It's a texture thing for me, but I love the flavor. Love the flavor of it. See? It took me quite a while to notice that that was on a small frame. I always laugh at myself. It's okay to laugh at yourself. If you're not used to cutting like this, do not use it in your hand to cut it. Always use a cutting board. But a lot of people that are seasoned, they can just cut right in their hand. But again, if you're not used to doing this, please use your cutting board to cut your veggies and anything else you may be cutting. Safety in the kitchen is very important. And don't forget, I've already had preheated my oven. My oven is preheated at 350 degrees. So it had been cut on since before I started cleaning the chicken. So it's going to be good and warm and hot when I put this chicken in there. Roughly chop your onions. Nothing perfect. A lot of people will say, "Oh, you cut onions that make me cry." If you work with them fast, it ain't gonna have a chance to make you cry. But I love the flavor that onions and peppers gives the food. Love the flavor. Now I don't put any juice or any stock in my baked chicken because the chicken will create its own juices. So I just let it go. And now I'm back. I cleaned up my area and now I'm making the pecan pie for my daughter-in-law. Now it calls is for 1 cup of that Karo syrup. But since it was about a cup in there left, that's all I used. I turned it over and just let it drain. Easy pie. Easy pie. My thing is, when I cut in it, I always cut in it when it's still a little too warm. I just can't wait. There's the butter. Got the Karo syrup. You got the butter. And that was 2 tablespoons of butter. And I flipped that over so it can drain, so I can get more out of it. And now I'm going to put in 3 eggs. Again, if you're not seasoned and you don't know how to crack eggs over into a bowl, do it in a separate bowl, and then you can just dump it in your big bowl. Now this is vanilla extract. And you're getting 1 teaspoon of this in there. And it's also 1 cup of sugar in there as well. I apologize for not saying that. Now we just blend, blend, blend. And I'm going to get the rest that's draining down to the bottom. Hey, with this prices of gas and food and everything, you better get every bit of what you have. Every drop. All right, gonna make some more. There you go. And now I got my chopped pecans. You're gonna do 1.5 cups of this, quote unquote. Because I measure with this right over the board, or whatever drops in, drops in. I feel as though the more pecans, the merrier. Love pecans. That wasn't too bad. This is a very easy pie. And there go my deep dish pie crust. And it has to be Pillsbury. Has to be Pillsbury. You could cheat Hey, if you can cheat, cheat. Shoot, get that pie crust already made. Whether they know the difference or not, they gonna still tear that pie up. They gonna still tear it up. And you dump it on in there. Now this will bake anywhere from, depending on your oven, it can bake anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour, depending on your oven and how it cooks. But I usually leave mine in there for like 55 minutes to an hour. Put it in there in that same 350 oven. Now we cleaned up a little bit, and now we got our pots that we're gonna boil our water in for the macaroni. Make sure you salt your water. Salt the water. And this is, I'm just showing you the brand that I use for the vanilla because I didn't do it when I was making the pie. And now I'm gonna chop up my cheese. I only use Kraft cheese when I make food, whether it's baked ziti, whether it's macaroni cheese, lasagna, Kraft cheese. I don't like the generic like that, and I don't like Velveeta at all. So, and I know they got Sargento, they have all those kinds, but when I'm making my food, I like Kraft. That's gonna be you and this block of cheese. It's gonna test your strength. Oh, but if I don't put enough cheese in here, I will hear it from my children, especially the third son. He will tell me, "Oh, you ain't put enough cheese in here." Those are my worst critics. You hear me? They always taste my food because they will tell me the truth, and they just get it from their mama. That's all. It's okay. So I just cube this cheese up to small cubes. And again, if you're not seasoned enough, if you don't have that much experience with cutting in your hand, use your cutting board. Safety in the kitchen is very, very important. And also know that a dull knife is a dangerous knife. So try not to cook with dull knives. And due to me being lactose intolerant, I love me some macaroni and cheese. I will eat this like every day, even though it affects me. But hey, it is what it is. And we're done with that. That's a lot of cheese. Clean up as you go. I really don't like using the elbow macaroni when I make macaroni and cheese. It's always this one or the long, it has to be long one or the little curly ones. I always like to do a different type of noodle when I make macaroni and cheese. So it has done cooked for about, I say about an hour. So now I'm just gonna take the top of it off. Well, you know, I'm take that back. I don't even know if it was an hour. I doubt it. If it was an hour, I won't say that. But I do cook my chicken for a pretty good time because I like it to be thorough. So it had to be almost an hour that was in there with the foil on, and then for the rest of the time it will be without the foil, just to give it its color. Giving myself a facial with the steam from the pot. See what I'm saying? It's a facial. Now it's time to get to business. Now you can let this sit when you drain your noodles. You can let it sit in the strainer if you like. But just know when you let it sit, it will kind of start sticking to each other. I do not wash my noodles to make my macaroni and cheese. I love the starch on it. To me, it just helps. It's just better with the starch on it. And I didn't put it right directly on the fire. I just set it in the middle, and there's my milk. I don't measure. I just use stuff. I don't measure. I use it to how I feel that it's enough. Now, I don't put any salt in my macaroni and cheese because the cheese has salt in it. And then also I use salt, a lot of good salt, when I boil my noodles. So they go to black pepper. Some things I use generic and some things I won't. So y'all will see me going in and out. And there go my eggs right into the pot. And I'm only using 3. This 3 is more than enough for this size pan. Just making sure that the eggs are well blended in. You want to blend them in because you don't want to have egg inside your macaroni and cheese. You look in there, you see an egg in there that you don't cook inside. Okay, now I've got my cube cheese that I cut up. If your liquid in your pot is hot, you can take a little bit of your liquid and put it in a bowl to temper it with the eggs and then dump it in the pot. But since it was not hot, I just put it directly into the pot. So you had black pepper, we had a cube cheese, we got the eggs, we got the milk, and then this is another ingredient that I love, sour cream, a daisy, the sour cream. Now it was only a little bit left in this container, so I had to use another one. And what I did is, like when you open a sour cream container, it's a little bit of the water on the top, so I just dumped that off. That's all that was. And I just like the tang, the twang, as some people say. It's a tang or a twang, whichever one you choose to use. I like that taste that the sour cream gives the macaroni and cheese. Love it. And there you go. Kobe and Jack. Kraft shredded. A lot of people shred their own cheese. People say it's better to shred your own cheese. Me, I cube 1 block. And Kraft shredded ain't failed me yet. So, it's your choice. There go my Mexican cheese. This will be very cheesy. Very cheesy. But it's no macaroni and cheese if you ain't got the cheese. Okay, sharp cheddar. And this is another secret ingredient, crystal hot sauce. I don't use any other ones that's stronger. Crystal hot sauce is not too hot, and I can't take a lot of hot sauce. But here, I just shake. Don't ask me how much I use because it's just to my liking, whatever I feel is best at that time. No measurements. And now I'm going to mix it all together. And I just do this until it is starting to melt and is combining. You combine it and then you can put it in the pan once it starts to melt together. You'll constantly see me wiping the stove. It's black, so you can see everything on it. And I'm not that tall, so I reach and I get on my tippy toes for everything. And I have a step stool, but it's in my room and I just ain't feel like walking there to get it. So it's either me reaching or stepping on my toes, or I call one of the kids to come and do it for me. You know, they have jokes. They talk about me because I'm short, but it's okay. It's okay. Now don't dump the whole thing in the pan off bat. I take some out first. Then I'm gonna dump it because I don't want it to splatter everywhere and then I have to clean up everything. So I make it easy on myself. And you can tell from the little stringies that it has melted some. Yeah, and I'm looking at the mess that I just made. When you cook it, it's kind of hard to stay completely 100% clean, but I be trying. You know, ain't nothing wrong with trying. So now I'm putting some cheese in the middle. Now, one big pan of macaroni and cheese would really cost me if I was making it. Because we're going to use a lot of cheese, and we're going to use some sour cream, and we're going to use some milk. It's going to cost. But this one is just a little small one, so. And see my liquid, I did a little bit too much liquid. Just know you can add, but the taking away is a little harder. So now I'm flipping the sides of the pans on the edge. I'm flipping it up so once I get it all in there, it won't waste out and it won't drip on the inside my stove. So I got a trick for that too. I don't put it on a baking sheet because you put it on a baking sheet, it tends to cook the bottom of the pan and it get it like crusty or burnt kind of. So aluminum foil on the bottom is nice, and it'll catch it if if it wastes. Here we go again with the cheese. So I put all three of them on top. So if y'all ever want me to make y'all some macaroni and cheese, make sure y'all pay me. You pay me. Go buy the you can go buy the ingredients. How about that? And I'll be glad to make it. As long as you buy the ingredients. Okay, so I'm ready to put this in the oven. But first, I'm going to take the pie. That's looking good. That's a pecan pie right there, honey. Yes. Look. Look at her. She cleaning up again. Oh. And I'm just rotating my pans, the chicken from the bottom rack to the top one because I need the bottom rack for the macaroni and cheese. And now I am ready to put the macaroni and cheese in. I did put foil on the bottom rack before I put the macaroni and cheese on it, just in case something dripped over. Making sure I ain't waste nothing in the oven. Because I'm the one that got to clean it out. Right. So there go that chicken. That thing pretty too. Look at it. That thing pretty. Mm-mm-mm. Okay. This the big reveal right here, y'all. Y'all ready? Are y'all ready? Oh, ain't she pretty? She's so pretty. Look at her. She's so pretty. So that macaroni, thick, just like me. Look at it. Oh, love it, love it, love it. And here it is again. I did not use the wide screen, so I do apologize. And I'm putting this in the container because it's late and I'm not going to eat tonight. I'll take it to work tomorrow to eat. And there you go. My chicken and my macaroni and cheese. Now, this pie is not 100% cooled, but I'm going to try to cut it. And I should know better. But y'all please make sure, if y'all don't want y'all pie to fall apart, just make sure you make sure that it is cooled before you cut it and try to take it out the pan. Mm. It's okay though, that's my piece. That's my piece. It's okay. But it's always the first piece of pie that's always hard to get at. Always that first piece, that first stubborn piece. So now I try to cut another piece. It looks a little better, but it's still warm. But there you go. There go my pecan pie. And I tell y'all, that thing was good. You hear me? It was good. But there you go. I made a pecan pie, baked chicken, and homemade macaroni and cheese.